The Stack's Bowers June Showcase auction featured some absolutely spectacular US coins. Let's take a look at some of the best of those. We'll begin in 1866 as the United States was reconsidering the 5-cent coin's design. The Mint tested a design that placed George Washington at its center, paired with a more stylized reverse design featuring a laurel wreath. The concept, however, never reached circulation. Today, only 4 examples of this pattern coin are confirmed to exist, making this nickel striking one of the rarest Washington patterns of the 19th century. It is graded as proof 65 by PCGS, and it sold at auction for $36,600. To mark 230 years of the flowing hair dollar, the United States Mint returned to America's earliest silver dollar design, this time in high relief, struck from 1 troy ounce of 4/9 fine silver. A select group received a special 230 privy mark. This is the 25th coin struck of those. The coins were individually sold at auction by Stack's Bowers in December of 2024, where this exact coin was sold as lot 11025 and realized $42,000. It is graded in that same slab as proof 70 deep cameo, but this time around, nearly a year and a half later, it was sold for $56,120 at auction. In 1851, Augustus Humbert began issuing massive $50 pieces, first at a fineness of 880 and then 0.887. By 1852, the United States Assay Office of Gold had taken over, creating the celebrated octagonal slugs that carried gold rush wealth through commerce. Legislation then passed in August of 1852, barring the customs office from accepting gold coins below the federal fineness of 900, forcing the assay office to replace these K13 types almost as soon as they had appeared. This example somehow managed to survive that purge and is today graded as XF45 by PCGS, for which it secured a final price at auction of $51,240. Theodore Roosevelt wanted American coinage to rival the great works of antiquity. To achieve that, he bypassed the Mint's engraving room altogether and turned to Augustus St. Gaudens. The artist's original eagle was sculptural, medallic, and uncompromising. Liberty in a feathered headdress and a defiant eagle on the reverse, and a relief so bold that the coin required multiple strikes. Chief engraver Charles Barber saw a production nightmare. Roosevelt saw the work of a great American artist. Only 542 wire rim eagles were produced, and 70 of those were later melted down again, leaving a net issue of only 472. This MS-65 example preserves that first initial vision in full detail and managed to attain a closing price at auction of $97,600. 3 decades after the Gobrecht dollar first appeared, Mint director Henry R. Lindemann returned to its dies, not for circulation, but to create cabinet coin restrikes for collectors. This 1839 name-removed dollar was struck circa probably around April 1869, transforming an earlier experimental issue into a rarity of the post-war mint. Today, fewer than a dozen are estimated to have survived, including this coin, which is graded as proof 65 by PCGS, and when it crossed the auction block, it managed to attain $109,800 in turn. In 1882, George T. Morgan imagined a silver dollar far removed from the design that would bear his name. Liberty turns towards the right, wearing a shield-shaped earring and a Liberty headband, while a defiant eagle raises its wings on the reverse. The result is one of the most admired pattern designs of the 19th century mint. The shield earring motif was issued in experimental 3-coin proof sets of a quarter, a $half, and the dollar coin, all struck in silver or copper. Only 9 silver Judd $1702 are accounted for today. Here we see a PCGS graded example at the grade of proof 65 plus that was sold at auction for $134,200. In 1915, the Panama-Pacific Exposition celebrated more than just the World's Fair. It marked the opening of the Panama Canal and America's arrival as a power linking 2 oceans. For its more imposing commemorative, Robert Aitken looked towards antiquity. Liberty became the helmeted Athena, while an owl, symbol of wisdom, watched from a pine branch on the reverse. The public preferred the octagonal version of the coin. With 1,500 round $50 pieces struck, only 483 were eventually distributed, the rest being melted down by the mint later on. This round version of the coin is graded as MS64 by PCGS and sold for $140,300 at auction. In September of 1857, the American economy was already beginning to unravel when the SS Central America sailed into a hurricane carrying passengers, mail, and 15 tons of California gold. Amongst that lost cargo were roughly 5,400 newly minted 1857S double eagles, recovered almost a century and a half later. Its special holder also contains a pinch of California gold dust. With the coin graded as MS67 by PCGS, it rose to a closing price at auction of $146,400. The 1868 Liberty Head Proof Eagle had a mintage of just 25 coins, all of which were delivered on February the 20th of that same year. And that rarity has caused the coin to remain in the most exclusive provenance of the specialist collector ever since. Today, 10 to 12 coins are known to have survived in all grades, with 2 of those coins permanently off the market and locked away in the collections of the Smithsonian and the American Numismatic Society. This exact specimen was actually unknown until just recently, when it was graded by PCGS as proof 64, and during its appearance at auction, it raised $146,400. For generations, the 1841 No Drapery dime was dismissed as an accident of overpolishing, a regular dye that was lapped so aggressively that the fabric besides Liberty's arm was simply vanished as a result. The Newman specimen's exceptional preservation revealed details too sharp and deliberate to fit that old explanation. It is now regarded as an intermediate design, a transitional experiment between the early No Drapery type and the with drapery hub that would define the series for nearly 20 years. Today, only 2 true proof examples are known, of which this is the finer, graded by NGC as proof 67+. It secured a final price at auction of $341,600. In 1878, the US Mint revived a failed idea for defeating counterfeiters. Gold coins, it seems, were being hollowed out with their cores replaced with what was at the time the much cheaper platinum, which has a similar weight to gold. The proposed answer was simple, really. Make the coins broader and significantly thinner, leaving less metal to remove. This pattern quarter eagle put that theory into practice with gold. Measuring 20.5 millimeters, it was a lot wider than the regular coin, but also correspondingly thinner as well. However, the experiment proved too difficult to manufacture at scale and was quickly abandoned, just like the earlier proposal from 1860. This coin is the sole surviving gold example from that experiment. Graded by CACG as Proof 66 Cameo, it was sold at auction for $439,200. Subscribe to WNN and feel free to watch another video about the spectacular Harry Bass collection right here. Next. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.